Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're taking a snapshot of our world on one single really important day. We're going to jump from a super high-stakes presidential summit to protests for basic rights and see how these huge global tensions can show up right on our doorstep. Let's get into it. So the date is August 15th, 2025. And on this one day, all these seemingly separate events are happening all over the globe. We're going to connect the dots between 6 major stories and see what they really tell us about where the world is at right now. First up, high-stakes global diplomacy. We've got 2 major events unfolding that could seriously alter the balance of power and the chances for peace in some really critical parts of the world. That's coming straight from U.S. President Donald Trump. He's meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin at this massive summit in Alaska. You can just feel the pressure, right? The main goal is a ceasefire in Ukraine, and clearly Trump wants it done today. But this meeting, which is happening at Joint Base Elmendorf-Richardson, it's not just about the war. The whole agenda is packed. They're talking about ending the fighting for sure, but also about huge trade issues and how the 2 powers can cooperate economically. And this is where it gets really tricky. On one side, you have some speculation that, hey, maybe some territorial swaps could actually bring about peace. But on the other side, you've got analysts sounding a major alarm, warning that any deal made over Ukraine's head could look a lot like the kind of appeasement that happened right before World War II. It is an incredibly fine line to walk. Now, while that's all happening in Alaska, a whole different diplomatic fire is starting in the Middle East. And it all comes down to this number, 3,400. So what's that all about? Well, that's the number of new homes Israel says it's going to build in a super controversial part of the occupied West Bank called E1. And critics are saying this isn't just about housing. They argue this specific spot was chosen to basically split the territory and make a future connected Palestinian state pretty much impossible. And the reaction from the rest of the world? It's been fast and loud. I mean, just look at this list. The condemnation isn't just coming from neighbors like Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and Jordan. It's coming from major European allies, the entire EU, and the United Nations. They're all saying this plan violates international law. Okay, for our next theme, we're going to shift away from the negotiating table and out into the streets. We're looking at how some really basic rights and freedoms are being put to the test in very different places, from Kabul all the way over to London. So, in Afghanistan, the Taliban is marking 4 years since they returned to power. The official celebration in Kabul is this big spectacle. They even have helicopters dropping flowers on everyone. But here's the thing you have to notice. It's a celebration for men only. And that very exclusion creates this incredible contrast. Because at the exact same time, incredibly brave women's rights groups, both inside Afghanistan and just over the border in Pakistan, are holding their own events. They're protesting. They're demanding the right to go to school, to have a job, to just be part of public life. Now, thousands of miles away in the UK, a totally different fight over civil liberties is heating up. There are these new policing policies aimed at supporters of a group called Palestine Action, and they've led to more than 700 arrests. We're talking poets, educators. It's kicked off this huge debate about freedom of speech and the right to protest. And at the center of it all is a really controversial idea. On one side, supporters say that releasing a suspect's race and immigration details can actually fight online misinformation. But on the other side, critics are warning, whoa, hold on, saying a policy like that could seriously backfire, stir up racial tension, and just divide society even more. And for a final theme, let's bring it right back home. We're looking at disruptions that are affecting people's everyday lives in a big way. These are stories about what happens when our essential systems hit a crisis point. So our first story starts with this number, 700. That's how many flights Air Canada thinks it's going to have to cancel every single day because a huge labor strike is threatening to bring the entire airline to a standstill. And what's the real-world impact of canceling 700 flights a day? It looks like this. Hundreds of thousands of travelers. Every single one of them has plans just thrown into complete chaos. It really makes you ask some big questions about the airline industry right now. At the same time, over in New York City, another kind of emergency is unfolding. A huge fire has broken out in a 7-story apartment building on the Upper East Side. We're still waiting on all the details, but the pictures show a really intense fight just to get that blaze under control. When you see these two things side by side, a whole national airline about to shut down and a huge fire in a crowded city, it really makes you wonder, are these just two random unlucky events, or are they maybe signs of something bigger? Signs that our systems, everything from labor to infrastructure, are just under a whole lot of strain. Okay, so let's pull the camera back now and look at the big picture of this one day. We've covered a ton of ground, so let's try to put it all together in one final snapshot. So here it is, our look at August 15th, 2025. You've got world leaders in a room debating territory and peace, while somewhere else, people are on the street protesting for their own land and their basic rights. You've got huge national systems like air travel and local ones like fire departments pushed to the absolute limit. It's a day of conflict and crisis, from the world stage right down to the city block. It's a lot to take in, I know. One day, 6 stories spanning the entire globe. And when you look at all of them together, it really leaves us with one big question to chew on. On this day, are we seeing a world that's finding new ways to pull together, or one that's actually maybe just drifting apart?